In the previous devlog, we showed you the updates we made to the camera system and the graphical improvements. We also talked about how much of this came directly from playtester feedback. In this episode, we're focusing on two things: how we changed the way the story is presented, and how we reworked some of the core mechanics. Again, thanks to the feedback we received. In earlier versions of the game, players used a tool we called the gravity gun for practically every kind of interaction. One of its functions was scanning objects to reveal backstory or to discover hints for puzzles. The original idea was that players could choose, either dive deeper into the lore or simply play through the levels without slowing down. But there were two major problems. First, there was no clear context. Players had no idea which objects were important for the story, which were tied to progression, and which just gave puzzle hints. The result? Players felt forced to scan everything they came across, never sure what to expect. Second, murals, our fragments of story scattered throughout the levels, weren't well explained. Collecting them was meant to reveal background lore, but players didn't understand why they should bother scanning them in the first place. To fix this, we split scannable objects into two groups: optional flavor objects and story-critical ones. Optional objects are presented as decorative items, paintings, plaques, things that feel natural in the environment. Scanning them provides context, but doesn't affect progression. They can be scanned multiple times, and there's no UI tracker reminding you about them. Story-critical objects, however, are handled differently. We added a main UI overlay that shows how many collectibles and murals exist in a zone, and which ones you've already found. Players can always check their progress, and the important murals are tracked for completion. On top of that, we added a gallery in the main menu under Extras, where players can revisit every mural they've found for additional story context. In the tutorial zone, these murals are just story details, but later on, they'll also serve as puzzle hints. And for the players who love collecting, we've added treasure-like collectible items with their own entries in the gallery. As mentioned earlier, the gravity gun was originally the game's main mechanic. Besides scanning, it was used to open boxes, move obstacles, and rotate pillars. But then came the question. One Reddit commenter asked, "How is this different from the push and pull mechanics in other games?" Good point. Our main pitch was that the gravity gun allowed you to interact with objects at a distance, grabbing things you normally couldn't reach. That was supposed to be the puzzle hook. But testers quickly pointed out more issues. First, players wanted consistency. Why could they move rocks blocking the path but not the vase, the cushions, or the table? If you can move some objects, why not all of them? Second, the distance mechanic was confusing. Some objects could be scanned only up close, while others could be scanned from very far away. It made it hard for players to develop intuition about how the puzzles were supposed to work. So, we made a big decision. The gravity gun is gone. In its place, players now carry a small handheld scanner used only for scanning objects. Interactions are handled through a drag mechanic. You can now move and reposition obstacles manually to clear the way. Long-distance interaction has been removed and will be replaced with other mechanics in the future. We also added switches and levers that activate different devices and systems, giving more variety to puzzle solving. And then a new layer of gameplay: collectible, usable items. Players can pick up a cog or a battery, and it shows up on their backpack. You can only carry one of each at a time, and you'll need to use them at specific spots to power mechanisms that unlock new paths. The tutorial briefly introduces this, but later levels will expand on it heavily. Finally, we introduced the light drone, a small floating companion that follows the player, lighting up dark areas and helping with navigation. It also helps players locate important scannable objects, providing hints for those who are stuck. Alongside these changes, we've reworked a few more gameplay design elements, but we'll dive deeper into those in the next devlog, where we'll also be ready to show you an entirely new gameplay segment that's currently in prototype. In the coming days, we'll also prepare more free materials and useful packs for you to download from our Gumroad page. Right now, most of what's available are Blender project files, but you'll also find a free character controller for anyone curious about trying their hand at game dev. If you're interested in Evergrow, Want to follow along with our dev journey, or simply enjoy free resources? You can support us by subscribing to the channel, sharing with your friends, or leaving feedback. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.